is that even the judge sitting on the matter has been implicated. Are you aware? Let me refer you to the proceedings. Even the judge.
Which proceedings of
the
day?
Court? Of the court.
Which day?
Go to page 22. The proceedings of 13th day of June 2024.
Page 22.
Page 22.
Let's scroll up to page
Paragraph 2 of that page. Read what is contained there. Even the trial judge has been incriminated.
Maybe while the project is running, can you just read?
Yes.
Read.
Now, paragraph 2 portion says, okay, let me read. Then the Attorney General jumped in and said, my brother, you know I do not run the office alone. When they submitted their position against the submission of no case, I could not say no because I do not work alone at the office of the Attorney General. So I asked him, if you cannot fulfill your promise to me in your own office, how can you guarantee that I can be acquitted at the final judgment since you cannot control your own staff in your office? How can you control the judge? If she decides to bang me in, then I will have to be appealing from Insawam. Then he said, everything has been arranged and that I should not worry about that.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Wow. No, but
no, there is no but here. I am saying, like.
Somebody's statement.
No. Wait.
So, respect.
So I am saying that this testimony shows that the AG has promised him that he has already arranged everything with the judge. So he shouldn't worry about the. Did you listen to the statement?
No. So that portion.
So like Martin Pebo is saying.
Somebody's statement.
No, so how does the judge...
Did you listen to Martin
Pebo?
Martin Pebo says these matters are continually scandalizing our judiciary.
Okay.
The fact that
is what we are...
Okay.
So who is going to recant this? How are you going to recant this? Under cross-examination?
Yes, but that's also...
How are you going to recant this under cross-examination? When you are not willing to testify. The person is making allegation that you have told me that you have made an arrangement with the judge. If you won't mount the witness stand to recant this under oath, how are you going to recant this under cross-examination? So these are matters that are going to the record that are dangerous for the integrity of the court. Already, a Supreme Court judge's name has been marked. It's copiously referenced in the proceedings. Now the trial judge herself, the witness, the accused person is saying that the Attorney General has told him that he has an arrangement with the trial judge. So he shouldn't worry about his safety in the matter. And you think that this shouldn't worry you as officers of the law and of the court?
And it's not just one.
It bothers me. No, I'm not inviting you. I am putting it to you.
Okay, so
I am
make your point.
It is not being mentioned. The person is leading evidence. The person is leading. I'm saying that this forcing trial, this political trial, is scandalizing the country, scandalizing the judiciary.
Let them go to the trial.
I am saying that a witness under oath is leading evidence. And in fact, this is under cross-examination.
So does it mean it is
he's under cross-examination. He's making an allegation against an Attorney General, City Attorney General, that he has told him that he has an arrangement with the judge regarding his safety in the matter. And you think that this can be glossed over? In any jurisdiction properly so-called, this matter will have to be halted and proper investigations conducted. Anyway. It is my opinion. Yes. It's an opinion founded on matters of law and of fact. So,
the only way
Godfrey Yebuadami must be investigated as a public officer. All right?
No. Let's go up a bit. Said then the attorney.
Oh, no. 22, page 20.
Go to page 22, paragraph 2.
So this
starting from line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then the Attorney General jumped in and said, my brother, you and I know I do not run the office alone. Yes.
When they submitted their position against the submission of no case, I could not say no because I do not work alone at the office of the Attorney General.
Do you see the part even saying he gave AG documents before the submission of no case came?
After I had given him documents, he demanded from me and did not honor his part of the bargain.
Yes.
Yes.
Then
says,
come to the
and then he goes on and says, I could not say no because I do not work alone at the Office of the Attorney General. So I asked him, if you cannot fulfill your promise to me in your own office, how can you guarantee that I can be acquitted at the final judgment, since you cannot control your own staff in your office? How can you control the judge if she decides to bang me in? Then I will have to be appealing from and so on. Then he said everything has been arranged and that I should not worry about that. Then I said, no, I will fight you.
Is this on the tape?
No, this is his
testimony before testimony.
Yes, this is the true and certified copy. And the judiciary
it's even more valuable.
No, it says, then I said, no, I will fight you and the judiciary to the last drop of my blood.
He's being cross-examined.
Yes,
so I was getting angry because they had betrayed me. So is this part of, to the extent that this is
evidence under cross-examination. Yes.
And
this is evidence
so what
is adducing under cross-examination.
What has been the questions on this? By
which questions?
The cross-examining lawyer.
But have you read the proceedings at all? You haven't read. So then you should be quiet and listen to us whilst we analyze what has been said. My brother, don't be emotional about this.
I'm not
emotional.
No.
You understand?
All that I'm saying,
because that is why I have said 2 weeks ago that it will be proper for the Judicial Secretary to issue a statement regarding the allegations of the involvement of Justice Yoni Kuleni in the matter. If the office is minded. If they are not minded, then the alternative, Justice Yoni Kuleni himself ought to issue a statement regarding the allegations of his involvement in the matter. That has not been responded to. Now, in the course of the further proceedings of this case, the witness is even implicating the judge. That he has been informed by the Attorney General, the prosecutor, that he already has an arrangement in place with the judge regarding him. That is also a matter arising. And I'm saying that the court, like Pebu says, the court is further being scandalized. And it will be proper for this matter to be discontinued. Because, look...
So when you are brought before the court, all you do is that scandalize the court and you'll be sent to...
Who is scandalizing the court? It is the conduct of the Attorney General that has scandalized the court.
No, Mr. Tafo, yes. Let me just make a point. Yes. You are allowed to make certain comments when you are invited. That I would allow because he invites you. Yes. But in instances that you are not invited, let's kindly respect the rules on this platform and make some decorum. I'll come to you because you see, if you have any point of departure, to the extent that we haven't concluded on this topic, I will come to you on it. So hold on and let Nwodafianupo conclude on his point so that I'll move on to Professor Jampo.
Okay. So that having been said, the doctrine that our courts will not admit recorded telephone conversations is also not entirely correct. In the court agreed that in the case of Abna Pukua and ADB, the court said the recorded conversation between the woman and the customer that led to the revelation on some confidential information was an abuse of a constitutional right to privacy. But in the Kugbaji case, all right, that was Doche in Abna Pukua. But in the Kugbaji case, Puamai agrees that that principle cannot be wholesome. It has to be distinguished, especially in respect of the nature of the offense, the nature of the right, the nature of the matter in issue. So if you are recorded and the recording is in respect of you participating in a crime, you are planning to commit a crime, the court will admit it for its probative value. Because you cannot be excused from planning to commit a crime and the Republic will say that no, this one walk free. That is why even in some cases of some crimes, the mere thought of it amounts to a crime. You are aware?
Yeah.
You know. The fact that you think about it, which in the ordinary circumstances ought not to constitute or formed a crime, a charge will be formed for thinking about, for instance, to overthrow the republic. So it is important that even, for instance, when you threaten somebody, you must have just threatened the person without carrying out the act, but it constitutes a crime. So the court is very clear that the nature of the offense or the nature of the trial or the case before the court will determine whether or not the recorded electronic evidence will be admitted. That is the Kugbaji one. So in this case, the recorded evidence is that the Attorney General is engaged in the commission of a crime himself and also engaged in a professional misconduct. That is why the court admitted this evidence and will place the probative value that he ought to place on it and determine this matter. This matter has become so scandalous, it's so stinky that the Republic, look, this prosecution is done on behalf of you and I. Yeah. We are no longer interested because the scandalous matters that are arising from it will serve you and I's interest. Right. And I think I will support Martin Kpebu that the Attorney General or the state should enter a nolle prosequi so that we can all go to sleep. But it doesn't mean that other remediable actions available to parties who have been injured, who have been damaged, who are aggrieved in this case cannot be taken. Okay. Against the Attorney General, for instance.
Well, thank you. And it's some 12 minutes after 10. So many of your messages coming in on this matter. For example, bringing in at this point, because this also borders on governance. It's not just about law. And that is why your perspective to this issue, I want to tackle it from that perspective. Oh, you have? No. I started with you. I don't know if you just forgot. Professor Jampo, let me, no, you, don't worry.
Thank you. I think on this matter, we've just been, in fact, we watched the video, and we are told that the video of the interview of Alfred Ocansey, and we are told that the Attorney General would also have his day in court to cross-examine Jakpa. And I honestly am looking forward to how the claims as captured in the tape will be controverted and, if you like, be nullified by the Attorney General. Look forward to it because some of them are so damning that you wish they are not true. But until then, until this is done, until the claims are nullified and until we are told that all these are just a figment of Jakpa's imaginations. What I see, from my point of view, what I see happening is the continuation of the executive president's machination to make parliament subservient and to subjugate the legislative arm of government under its control by intimidating its minority leadership. Why do I say so? And I think it's an open secret. If you don't want to talk about it, I would say it. That a former minority leader suffered some form of intimidation by an attempt to say that, look, you've collected some double salaries. If you don't take care, we'll prosecute you. And that alone was supposed to send some shivers down his spine in how he went about his work. It hung on him till he was changed. Now it's gotten to Atuforsen, and this one, per what we have heard. I mean, I want to be fair. Let's say per the one-sided tape recording that we've heard, it appears that it's a clear case of witch hunting to ensure that Atuforsen would also be cowed into submission. But Atuforsen is a fanciful police. We are not cowed into submission by some of these, attempts. But see, in the process of trying to silence Atuforsen, we have we have further dissipated the confidence, public confidence in our court processes. Okay, now every other matter that the AG may be handling, I mean, people may look at it with some uncertainty. So we are further dissipating public confidence in the court processes. And to hear that a whole Supreme Court judges judge was the one who's supposed to have summoned a certain meeting, and I mean, it further lowers the goodwill and, like I said, the public confidence in the court processes. And I'm of the view that we are all hypocrites if we cannot subpoena the Supreme Court judge to also tell Ghanaians or tell the court what he truly knows about this matter, so that we will be trying in the process. We have to be trying to restore the confidence that the court processes are fast. The court processes, people are losing in the court processes. But I think that the challenges affecting the court processes now as a result of these things going on, and I agree with Martin that these things are further scandalizing the courts and lowering its image. I believe there is something that we can do to salvage the situation. I mean, respectfully, he's a calm gentleman, even though people feel that he can be diabolic. I think that the AG should simply, as part of the image cleansing and restoring confidence in the court process, the AG can simply decide to heed to the advice of the certain judge, rather than coming out publicly to say that, well, this is just an advice, I'm still interested in prosecuting the case. You should just simply recuse yourself. Even if President Akufo-Addo would, in spite of what is going on, has told your achievement and be saying positive things about you. I mean, in the interest of we trying to build public confidence in the court process, he can simply say that, look, I'm just stepping aside, especially as far as this matter is concerned. Look, the University of Ghana constituted a search panel to select a certain dean, and I was made part of that panel. And as the panel was going about its work, somebody wrote anonymously that one of the person who was to appear before the panel, the chair of the panel, the wife of the chair of the panel knows the person who was going to be interviewed by the panel. See, the chair of the panel, his wife knows the person who was going to be interviewed. Then the chair, when this thing, it came up anonymously, then the chair said that, look, because of this, I am recusing myself. I will not sit on this particular.
Even though nobody would have known.
And members of the panel said, no, but this is even anonymous. The man said, and I'll mention it, it's a good example, so I think I have to mention it. Professor Bonzi Simpson, Bonzi Simpson, wow. He said, look, look, I will not sit on this particular interview process. I'll recuse myself. We're pleading with him, he said, no, to the extent that somebody has just said this. And it's true that my wife knows this guy who is going to appear before us. I'll recuse myself. I think that afterwards, I had a lot of respect for him and what he did. I believe that if Godfred Dame would simply say, look, on this particular case, I've recused myself, it will help in building or boosting public confidence in the court processes. Besides this, I think that if there are truly elders in this country, across the divide, let them meet behind the scenes. Let them go and meet President Akufo-Addo. Let there be frank conversations and discussions. If we truly have an association of lawyers called the Ghana Bar Association, let the Inyansafo within the country, let them come together and speak to themselves behind the scenes as to how to resolve this particular matter. Because the way and manner it is going, like Martin said, if this guy is going to be cross-examined, I think that, you see, okay, you see, he knows what he has, and I believe that he's going to mount a defense of whatever he said, and in the process a lot of things are likely to come up that may further undermine public confidence in whatever our court processes stand for. We shouldn't destroy. See, we saw the value and the crucial role and importance of our judicial system and justice system during the 2013 election petition. When the whole of the country became so calm and quiet, it was the courts that kept us together.
Precisely.
Okay, so some of these things that have the tendency to undermine the confidence in the courts and the role of the court in keeping us together, we must find a very matured way as a people. The elders of the country, a country that has no elders, cannot thrive. A democracy that has no eminent statesmen and women playing a certain role as moderating influences and in resolving conflict cannot thrive. I very much remember in the following the 2008 elections. Okay, power was never going to be handed over so easily, but you had certain eminent people talking to people behind the scenes and trying to convince them, trying to make them understand that the democracy must continue to thrive. I mean, these things went on behind the scenes before, okay, power changed hands. And so my point is that if such elders continue to exist, I mean, they should not be heard only when one regime is in power and develop morbid fear when another regime is in power. Elders are elders. What at all are they looking for? What at all are they afraid of? They should be speaking, even if they will not speak up. I expect them. So two force are there. Some of these things, you see, if we collapse our court processes, I mean, we would all not have it easy. And so let all of them speak to themselves and let's find a way of resolving this particular matter, which in my view is nothing but a mere witch hunt just to cow the minority of parliament, you know, into submission. And I think that, look, this is not the route to go as a country wishing to climb higher the ladder of democratic progression. And so, President Akufo-Addo, it's up to you. This wasn't even the time for you to have mounted that platform to be talking about the embattled Attorney General. He's fond of that. When things are there to be investigated, then he would go out there to say things that goes contrary to the. But I think that you should even be speaking to your Attorney General behind the scenes that, look, given the fact that, look, your continuous handling of this particular case would, you see, where we've gotten to, if you convict Atto-Forson, acceptance of the decision may be difficult by the generality of the populace. And then if you don't convict him too, it will look like your own image has been battered and all. Let us find a certain win-win situation of getting some other elders intervening in this matter and bringing a proper resolution and finality to it so that we can keep ourselves intact, and then we can also maintain the respect that we have in the court process. Because look, if we continue to decimate the respect and public trust and confidence in the judiciary, we are all gone.
Thank you, Professor Jampo, from that governance angle. I'm going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we'll get into the IMF conversation. We'll have a number of people, two persons joining us from the Finance Ministry and then also from the University of Ghana Business School to do an assessment of this MOU with the creditor committee. No, I have to go for a break. No, I have to go for a break. I'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. We have a number of messages, so I'll read them.
Hey, Walambo! Hey, Walambo! I asked him to buy me original Polita.
Hey, please don't make mistake. Stop the papa. Open the back man. And ye Polita no gala. Hey, papa.
Papa, can ruffle.
The Polita is original. The first and the best.
What is? Ukota also for dear acrobat to use to me.
Polita, yes.
Introducing Rehoboth Social Housing, a wide array of litigation-free plots in the center of Rehoboth Havens, Ayimensa. Ideal for your dream home construction or future investments, our plots are prepared for development, giving you a blank canvas on which to build the house of your dreams. Our plots are ready for immediate construction because they have all the necessary utilities and a well-developed infrastructure in place. We make the process seamless and stress-free. Our team of experts is here to guide you every step of the way. Within Rehoboth Havens Ayimensa are already built modern luxurious homes selling at affordable prices, safe and convenient for all. Secure your future today with just $12,000 or the equivalent Ghana cedi. Locate us at 145 North Legon, GM 060-6274, or call us on 0553-751-933 or 0206-823-524, or contact our UK office, Vega House Opal Drive, Fox Mill, Milton Keynes, MK150D5, on 01908 853 3149, or visit our website on www.rehobothsocialhousing.com. Rehoboth, your housing dream becomes a reality.
All right. Well, after discovering that she had throat cancer, she had to undergo 14 surgeries. Eventually, her voice box was taken out, and now she relies on a machine to be able to speak. So the voice we're hearing is not your voice. It is a machinated voice.
Yeah, it's a tube that has been inserted through my esophagus. So what happens is I have to bring a lot of air from my stomach.
Now, she calls herself the artificial voice of the voiceless.
As I'm talking to you, I'm not breathing.
Yay! And she's here to tell us all about her story and how God gave her another chance to live, and she's living life to the fullest.
More than a conqueror, I'm a winner, not a loser, overcomer.
Don't miss the Day Show this Sunday at 3 p.m. right here on TV3.
The Day Show, Sundays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Hi lovely people, my name is Bubune. I'm a fashion stylist. So this Saturday, I'm going to be on the Ladies Circle.
Have you ever been in a situation in your life where you had
Celebrate Father's Day and Eid al-Adha in style with Melcom from Saturday 15th to Sunday 16th June. Enjoy 20% off on all purchases at any Melcom store near you. Make that special day an Eid al-Adha celebration more fulfilling. Happy Father's Day and Eid al-Adha. Terms and conditions apply. Melcom, where Ghana shops.
Now is an opportune moment for investors to consider the remarkable investment opportunity presented by the Floria Residence, the pinnacle of luxury living in Cantonment. Offering a range of options from executive studios to lavish penthouses, including 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom apartments. Amenities and services includes round-the-clock security services, dedicated play areas, a bustling commercial zone, state-of-the-art fitness facilities and gym, a well-appointed conference room, an elegant rooftop sky bar, and a breathtaking rooftop infinity swimming pool. Additionally, residents benefit from the convenience of a secured 3-floor underground car park, while those residing in the ocean view penthouses enjoy unparalleled vistas. We are located opposite the Laboni Palace Mall, Accra. Contact us on 0595700008.
Yama adofo akwaba. O house of pisanya on netie na ge hu akono efa. By mistake now dey petiti kosini die mu no fa yefuna.
Don't see that.
O Valentine gift na ere.
Na pork ni cook. Nti every pork na ebo TV game.
Wa sorry for no. Omusofu ma mu ye bi no.
Mijire no ye abo fom bebo me akọ anim.
Okay, nti mo kwa sorry typically na bia wote puppet and answer wote ha. O mienu ti metena wachi.
O metam jan ye. Omo ya sofo. Omo ya mijire no mom tra congregation.
Nti se na nkwala 13 na do betime watimi asifie.
Wo dwene fie ho. Take dan bubu ye fie de go he.
Service bitu sameka se obi a me matena kura ketwa be 10 house.
Na wo kwa broche the first time.
Na wo kwa broche na wo kwa Jesus water way, a jacket way.
2 p.m. say na net e wo ma.
Obi a hwe me.
Ento wo gam o be ti bi.
Na kakra no monsi o.
Anu dene odofo.
The Delay Show is brought to you by NASCO, Pepsodent, Betway, Gino, Delay Foods, Yas Sanitary Pad, Tabia Takun.
The Delay Show, Sunday at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Welcome back to Key Point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, on DSTV channel 279. We are all across the world on 3news.com, also on a number of radio stations in the Western region and the Northern and Upper East region. Now, a number of the messages have come through. I will read them quickly. And let me acknowledge all of you who have sent us messages this morning. I totally appreciate this. As always, some 1,500 of your messages. I cannot read them all, but I do appreciate all the messages. Thank you. Thank you so much. This coming from a law student, says by name, Kwame Asante, says, tell Nelson Robson Dafiamepo that the law students who are writing exams are listening to him and learning. Could he give precedence for that forceful advocacy of the principle that an advice by the court to the lawyer in a case is specific, in the case of specifically the AG, is a technical injunction? Injunction is a discretionary remedy, and the judge need not render it as an advice. If the judge wants to injunct, the judge will injunct and not disguise it as a piece of advice. You say, this one here says, in any case, the court advised after refusing jurisdiction in the matter. How could the court have declined jurisdiction in a matter and turned around to injunct a lawyer in the same manner? You say. Thank you. This one here from Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo, good morning, and essentially commending the conversation that is being had.
Good morning to him too. It's good. And he should speak more on this Dame matter.
All right. So, and I think Lord Eduji Tamaklo, that one I have read, and then also
brought a very important intervention.
Lord Eduji Tamaklo was asking a question about
that was a good
the
point.
only way to undermine the testimony of Jakpa is for the Godfrey Dami and Justice Kuledi to mount the witness box. Thank you very much.
Because for me,
thank you,
Justice,
gentlemen.
Thank
you. Hardy from Pig Farm, thank you as well for the message. And then also Musa Abatwa in Aswasi. Kofori, that's Kumasi, I beg your pardon. This one says, good morning, Alfred. Are you aware that at the time lawyers of Honorable Atufosin filed a supplementary affidavit to the case and attached the tape as Exhibit 2 to the court registry, the Attorney General, although has the right or the opportunity to file a supplementary affidavit in opposition, didn't do so, at least per the records before the court by close of Thursday last week. It must also be stated clear that the Attorney General couldn't swear an oath on affidavit to deny the existence or authenticity of the tape, but employed a service, you say, of a proxy to attest to the context or the content of the tape, although he's available and he has always been available in court, you say. And thank you as well, the Deputy Attorney General and that conversation that we had, the intervention that he called in as well. A number of messages have come through in that regard. And thank you very much and for that explanation in the context. Let's go to our next issue now, which has to do with the MOU that we have had now with our bilateral creditors. Now, essentially, we want to find out really why this has been described as a landmark memorandum of understanding. And Dr. Abdul Ganiu is the technical advisor. He's a technical advisor at the Ministry of Finance. Dr. Abdul Ganiu is joining us on the telephone. Dr. Abdul Ganiu, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Key Point.
Yes, good morning, and thank you very much for having me. And good morning to all my friends in the studio as well.
Perfect. And we do appreciate your time also joining us. First of all, what makes this memorandum of understanding with our bilateral creditors a landmark one, as has been described?
Yes, landmark because we have been going through this process for quite some time, and we all agree that these are debts that have been owed to our external creditors. So to that extent, no one expected that it was just going to be an easy go for any country. Aside from Ghana, there have been some other countries in the market for quite some time now. And if you look at the agreement that we reached with the IMF, that in itself was just within 5 months. But some other countries have been dealing with the IMF for a much longer period. And indeed, by May of 2023, we were able to secure an agreement with the IMF. We got the first tranche somewhere in June, and we've gone on to restructure our domestic debts, and then we embarked on a mission to restructure the external debts. So by January of 2024, we had reached an agreement with the OCCs, that is the Official Creditor Committee, which are the bilateral countries that Ghana has owed over the period under the Paris Club. So the challenge was always the text of the MOU, and we've been back and forth at it. And inshallah, on the 11th of June, just this week, we were able to reach a final agreement with the OCCs. So we describe it as landmark because of the period that we have had to secure this agreement. Landmark also because it then ensures that we are able to get the third tranche of the $360 million that's expected to come, hopefully by end of June, when the executive board of the IMF sits. And everything else that will be triggered right after this agreement has been reached with the OCCs going forward.
Well, but essentially, beyond the landmark as you explained it, this is just our creditors giving us some breathing space between now and 2026. They are only postponing our headache of paying them the debt we owe them for this 3-year period, so that we can have some money to employ in some development project. Is it not?
Yes. So that's not just something to describe as simple as it is. At the end of the day, if you were supposed to pay that in principal and in interest between 2023 and 2026, now you have a moratorium. So you don't do that within this period, but you resume the servicing of those debts from 2027. It does give you the leeway. It does give you the elbow room. So you have critical sectors of the economy that you can invest these funds. Of the day, you drive the value out of it. It puts you in a position of strength, in a position of capacity, so that when you have to resume the payment of these debts, you are in a better position to be able to do so. So that is very critical. And then some other projects that were stalled, for example, as a result of funding from these bilateral countries, now the expectation is that funding for those projects should resume, and execution for those projects have to resume as well. And whatever benefits that the good people of this country stand to derive from these projects, that is going to be assured. And once we have also reached an agreement with the OCCs, it does pave the way for us to have a much more smoother engagement with our Eurobond holders and the other commercial creditors. So everything we expect should be a formality, and sooner than later we should be able to reach that agreement as well. And you also know
a formality. This agreement, at least the MOU we have now, is at the group level. So with China and France as the representatives of the various countries within the OCC. So is that to say that you are going to now have to, or the Ghana officials, the Ministry of Finance, and perhaps yourself, you have to be traveling to all these other member countries that we owe to go and present the MOU to them, that you know what, we have reached an MOU at the group level, so you have to agree to it. That's what's going to be happening in the coming days?
Yeah, so the MOU with the OCC spells out broader contours. So basically, each one of those countries, parts of the OCCs, agree that this must happen. But you then have to go and sign separate bilateral agreements with each of those countries. That is simply what it means. That is not supposed to be headache at all. But at the end of the day, you must have an agreement with each of those countries. So once you've signed the MOU at the level of the OCCs, you have to simply go and then sign the separate bilateral agreement. That is all what it means. So it's not going to be any difficult situation as far as signing these agreements are concerned. What I was saying is that is the next level of our external debts. That is those that are in the hands of the Eurobond holders and the other commercial creditors. It depended largely on the agreement at the OCC level. So now that we have gotten that, we hope that engaging them should be smoother, should be easier, and we should be able to reach an agreement with them as well sooner than later. So that's the point I am making.
Okay.
Since we announced debt suspension December 2022, our rating has not been good. Our credit rating has not been good. We've not been able to go to the bond market. Now the expectation was that these credit agencies will begin to give us a much better credit, and at the end of the day should be able to position us better so that in the future we could decide to go to the bond market as well. So these are some of the advantages that just the signing of this MOU gives us going forward.
I see. There's one point that you make, which I'll draw you back a bit, because you're saying that this MOU with the bilateral creditors would now serve as some kind of template for the engagement with our commercial creditors, who are the Eurobond holders. Now, with this bilateral creditors that we have this MOU with, we went in, I recall, sometime in October last year, that publication about we asking for a possible debt cancellation or even some sort of a haircut from them. These bilateral creditors did not agree to debt cancellation or any reduction in their debts. We're going to pay in full. Why is that? Why did they not agree to these proposals we're making to them?
Well, so there are proposals, and they are not obliged to just take whatever proposals we put on the table. But at the end of the day, whatever agreements we're going to reach with the bilaterals at the level of the OCCs needed to in line with the program that we have with the IMF. That is the most important thing. So if we have now reached that agreement and the IMF believes and sees it as the best that we can possibly have under the fund program, so be it. So what we have put out is that, yes, there's a moratorium between 2023 and 2026. Then 2027 going forward, when we resume the payment of these debts, interest rates are going to be reduced, and then over a longer period, these debts are going to be serviced. And the IMF accepts that. The IMF agrees to that. And that is why come the end of this month, when they sit at the executive board level, they will be ready to give approval to the next tranche, which is at $360 million. So whatever you do was supposed to be within the context of the IMF program. So what we have gotten, that falls under that. Okay. So I think that's the most important thing for Ghana.
I asked this question, this particular one, on the premise of the principle of comparability. And you and I do know that in debt negotiations, at least that principle of comparability now will apply in this sense because, as you indicated, this agreement with the Official Creditors Committee, France, China leading them, will now serve as a template in negotiating with the commercial creditors, bearing in mind that the debt we owe the commercial creditors is almost twice, in fact, more than twice the debt we owe the bilateral creditors. And so if the bilateral creditors did not agree to debt forgiveness and a haircut, how sure are we that on the principle of comparability, our commercial creditors will agree to the 35 to 40% haircuts that you want them to take?
So Alfred, I've told you that whatever we are doing has to be within the context of the IMF program. We've engaged commercial creditors at some point. We have reached some tentative agreements. In fact, we are not far off. So as far as the debt sustainability requirements of the IMF is concerned. So as we go back to them, all these are going to be discussed, all these are going to be put on the table, and we are confident that now that we have an agreement with the OCCs in line with the same comparability principle, we should be able to reach that agreement. In fact, the last engagement we had with them, as I indicated, we're not far off at all. So as far as all those principles and all those requirements under the IMF is concerned. So we'll continue to engage now that the MOU with the OCCs has been signed, and when we have gotten the separate bilateral agreements with each of those bilateral countries, I believe the Eurobond holders and the other commercial creditors will come to the table, perhaps showing a lot more cooperation, and at the end of the day, accepting whatever deals that Ghana is going to put before them. So that's the confidence we have going forward. There are a lot of details that cannot be put out because of the non-disclosure agreement. So that we have to respect. And with the statement that we have put out, it is our hope that the discussion continue to focus just on that, because we are not fully done yet. The separate agreements have to be signed with the bilaterals. We have to engage the Eurobond holders. And when we have finalized all of these agreements, certainly we'll be putting out another statement.
Well, okay. And because some of the questions I was going to ask borders on the details of the MOU. So as you have indicated to me that the non-disclosure agreement, so you can't answer any of them. So I think it's just on the platform of fairness. Thank you, Dr. Abdul Ganiyu, for joining us. I know you're still on to listen. Let me welcome for a brief comment on this Professor Patrick Esuming, who is an associate professor at the University of Ghana Business School. He's an economist, a development economist. Professor Patrick Esuming, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Key Point. Hello, Prof. Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers.
Perfect. Perfect. You just heard Dr. Abdul Ganiyu there, the technical advisor at the Finance Ministry. Okay, this Prof.
Thanks for having me.
Great, great. Can you hear me, Prof? Can you hear me? Okay, wait, I can't. Professor Jean-Paul, let me give just a couple of minutes on this one.
Well, I think that, number one, though we created the problems ourselves, I want to commend and applaud Ghana and the team and the government for getting this kind of agreement. You know, domestically it was difficult, but if you've gotten creditors to reschedule debt repayment, I think it's something that is good. If you've gotten them to reduce the interest rates that will be paying going forward, I think it's also good. But the bottom line is that it is money that we owe, and then we have deferred payment. We'll pay anyway. If we want to look at things critically, we should not only be interested in rescheduling repayment of debts, we must also review the earnings of the transaction advisors. Those who advised us to go into those transactions. Data bank, how much did you earn? Mr. Oforiata, you are always wearing white. We see you as a God-fearing person. Return some of the monies that you have earned, okay, to the state. If you are getting others to reschedule the payment of their debt, if you are getting us to reschedule a payment of our debt, transaction advisors, you cannot go intact with the huge monies that you benefited from. Return some to the state as a show of commitment and really sincerity in helping us to scale this particular hurdle that we find ourselves in as a country.
For example, thank you. Professor Patrick Esuming, can you hear me now? Hello, Professor Esuming, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. And I was just going to ask a quick question about what this MOU we've had with the bilateral creditors. To the extent that they did not agree to a debt cancellation or even a reduction in the debts in principle as we have it, would that also make our negotiations with the commercial creditors a bit complex than what is supposed to be, or even a bit difficult because of the principle of comparability that the commercial creditors are looking at what has happened with the bilateral creditors, and that's going to serve as a template and reference for them?
Yeah, I don't think it will make it complex. I think it will rather make it straightforward in a manner that we probably wouldn't find very pleasant. You know, you always expect that the bilateral creditors are the ones who are likely to be more flexible or more generous, if you want. The private bondholders are likely to insist on getting as much as they want. So, if we couldn't get any reduction at all in terms of the amount that we have to pay, and essentially from what I've heard, it looks like it's only a postponement. Is what we've got, and then you shouldn't expect that the private bondholders will give us much by way of reduction in terms of how much we owe.
And that presents another challenge, is it not? Because we owe them, in fact, the component of the debt we owe the commercial creditors, that's about 30 billion that we want to restructure. So it's about 13 billion thereabout. That's the component we want to restructure. And if you're saying that what has happened with the bilateral creditors is going to make it a bit difficult negotiating with this external creditor, because we're asking them to take 35 to 40% haircut. Is that going to happen?
Well, I mean, it remains to be seen. I don't think that we should be expecting that. As you've repeatedly mentioned, I think that the comparability of treatment is there. So they will look at what we have done with the bilateral partners, and that's going to define a lot of things that they are going to be willing to give up. I think when you look at all the way that this has panned out, it appears that Ghanaian businesses and then Ghanaian households who had held government bond look like they are going to be the biggest losers from the debt exchange that we are doing. Because if you look at the losses that Ghanaian bondholders have made in terms of the postponement and the reduction in interest. And typically, I mean, this is not something that happens often, that you do domestic debt exchange and then domestic bondholders give up this much. So I was really expecting that, given the sacrifices that Ghanaians have made, businesses and households have made, you would have made a substantial savings from the bilateral partners, but that hasn't happened. So it appears that you shouldn't really go in there thinking that you are going to get any reduction in terms of principal values or even interest payment. You might get something, especially on the interest payment, but in terms of principal, I'm afraid that that's very unlikely to happen.
Well, that's a reality check. Professor Patrick Asuming, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us with your thoughts on this matter. And Professor Patrick Asuming is a development economist and also a lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, so an associate professor there. Lawyer Martin, quick one, because he makes a comment about the impact on bondholders, because you are leading one of 3 individual bondholder groups. Quick one, in a minute.
Yeah, so you see that we have taken a great cut, okay? A cut that has affected our standards of living and etc. Right. You know, because by postponing coupon payments and all that, we have suffered greatly, okay? Pensioners, people can't feed their families well, they can't buy drugs, they can't, you know, and then you just ask yourself, this is President Kufuor, who, when he was coming, he said, Yeti Sikaso, so a come there. Yeti Sikaso, so a come there. And then you run us into this ditch, binge borrowing. Earlier on, Professor Jampo mentioned it, with your brother company, Data Bank, earning fees, okay, and all that on the transactions and all that. Now your family, Kufuor, your family has become very rich, and citizens are dying. Citizens can't pay school fees. Citizens can't pay rent. Yet Tisikaso, so I come there. That's the legacy.
Right.
Today, I understand even tomatoes, one for 5 cedis. Pepper, how?
Thank you.
So much hunger.
Quick one, 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. At least this vindicates our members who were advocating for a change in leadership at the Finance Ministry. I want to commend my junior brother, Amin, who has come into the saddle and performing well. In respect of the commercial, the bilateral creditors, the deferment of payment is good, at least gives us a breather. But I want to believe that that is not exactly
the slap
what
that
we
is closer to you, collect it at once.
No, yes, but that is not what we expected to have from the negotiation. They've done well for a start, but I will urge them on to continue in their discussions so that at least the interest on the bondholder, the interest on our indebtedness will go down into the future. So when we start paying...
But I say to go down.
Yes.
From 2027, the interest will also go down.
Yes,
right.
So let it go down further so that our indebtedness will be affected positively.
And let
so
I return some of the monies that they receive from as transaction advisors.
Please.
What is please? You don't agree to that.
I'm on the... that is why
I'm helping you.
Okay,
make that call to him.
Yes, so if we want to review the whole processes, let's review all of them, including probably what you are saying.
What am I saying? Repeat what I said.
Earnings on transaction.
Your mouth cannot say something.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Mr. Whiteman should reduce.
But again,
return some of his transactions.
Let me land. But again, this is the clarion call that we made that the leadership of the ministry ought to change because the same leadership brought us here. So a new person leading the charge will elicit some comfort and bring us the results we required. So congratulations, Dr. Amin Anta, for the work done so far.
Postponing our headache. Thank you.
More grace.
Honorable, please.
Now, Alfred, it's absolutely unconscionable that we are clapping for being ready to receive $360 million. When the Bank of Ghana in 2 years of its operations has occasioned a loss of 70 billion Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to $5 billion. When we have paid UNICEF $82 million for them to give us COVID-19 drugs that they have failed to deliver. When we are giving Pullman hotels $58 million in tax waivers when we have no hotel to show for it. When we are giving Skytrade $2 million for nothing to show. When we are giving Motor Angels $2 million for no work done. We have taken as much as 256 million euros to construct Ashaman to Adomi Bridge Road. We have nothing to show for it since 2020.
Are you listening?
When we have given $58 million, spent $58 million on National Cathedral with no concrete to show for it. When indeed we have lined up tax waiver to as much as $335 million in Parliament. Then we are clapping that we are going to look for $360 million. So you see, the conduct of this government, that they can pay as much as 11.9 million for no work down on Pualugu. Then they come and tell us from all this dissipation of state resources, we should clap for them for going to arrange for an additional $360 million. It won't do anything.
Thank you
this
very much.
This government must go home.
Thank you. Nelson Ross Ndafiampo is Member of Parliament for the South Dike constituency, is Member of the Public Accounts Committee, a number of committees in Parliament. Also, Martin Luther Pebo is private legal practitioner. He's leader of one of 3 individual vulnerable groups. Also, the Honorable Andy Apiakubi is Member of Parliament for Asanteachim North constituency. A number of comments came to you as well for what you are doing in the constituency in clamping down on illegal mining. So that's just for you. Honorable Apiakubi, the commendation for the work you are doing in the constituency about illegal mining. Professor Ramsford Jampo, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. A professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon, and also a governance expert. I thank as well the Deputy Attorney General who came through, Professor Patrick Esuming as well, who came through, Dr. Abdul Ganeo as well, who came through, Daryl Bosu. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Key Point. Make a date with us same time next week. I was clothed this morning by Willie's Clothing Empire. Willie's, as in for William, Willie's Clothing Empire. on social media. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram. And also, no, he's ready to clothe you if you are ready to just make yourself available. You can find them on social media, on Facebook and also on Instagram. Thank you. My name is Alfred Ocansey. The 3FM Baby Fair is ongoing at the Marina Mall. We are all going there, so please join us. Have a good weekend.
It's Father's Day today.
Father's Day is tomorrow. Father, happy birthday.
In a world where emotions run wild, only the bravest hearts dare to find true love. Join 14 hopeful singles as they embark on the journey of a lifetime, all under one roof in search of their perfect match. Tune in every Monday to Friday at 3 p.m. for the daily updates and diary sessions. Saturdays at 8 p.m. for the big reunion and 10 p.m. for the secret nominations. On TV3 for all the drama, romance and surprises. Plus, catch every moment of the action with our 24/7 live stream on pmextra.tv. Get ready to laugh, cry and cheer as our housemates navigate the highs and lows of romance and the quest for love. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions you won't want to miss. Perfect Match Extra. Love, betrayal, heartbreak and triumph.
Perfect Match Extra on TV3 and pmextra.tv.
Sponsored by Close Up for your important oral care needs. Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soap for your soft and glowing skin.
Flora Tissue, Top Choco, Bell Ice,
Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil,
Frutelli Calipo,
Kitia Furniture and Deco,
XYZ Wine. Supported by Drugnet, Empire Kitchens.
This whole season, nobody entered this stage with the waist before. Nobody. Okay.
The story is not entry.
The story, you're not convinced, eh?
Yes. Cindy, why? Why what? We like the story like that. Please.
Is it your story?
Don't get confused, sir.
It's your story, Miss.
We are okay. Giovanni.
Yes.
I'm 2 months pregnant.
Date Rush shows every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Date Rush is sponsored by Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil and Napa Foods, Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Feel Moisturizer,
Obuasi Bitters,
Close Up Complete Fresh Protection, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soap,
Adonko,
Remy Spices,
Stop Cough from Ernest Chemist,
Dano Milk,
Kiss Panache and Kiss Drinks,
Yaz Sanitary Pad.
Your favorite programs on TV3 are switching times. Sports Station. Which reviews the best sports action. So same shows,